Welcome to another deep dive, everyone. This time, we're going to be exploring Kashmir, its history, culture, and geography.
So fascinating.
Oh, it really is. And to guide us on this journey, we have PNK Bamzi's book, Culture and Political History of Kashmir. Have you had a chance to take a look?
I have, yeah. It's an incredible resource covering everything from the land itself to, the people who live there, their religions, their art and architecture. Bamza even delves into their economic systems.
Well, that's what I love about these deep dives. We get to uncover all these hidden gems that you wouldn't normally find in a typical history book.
Right. Like, think about this. The book talks about a king who literally diverted an entire river just to find hidden treasure.
Okay, that's a story we're definitely going to have to get to. But first, I think it's important to set the stage, give our listeners a sense of the geography of Kashmir. So, what makes this region so unique?
Well, for starters, Kashmir is far more diverse than many people realize. It's not just one valley, as the name might suggest.
Okay, so tell me more about that.
Well, you can break it down into three distinct regions. You have the outer hills, the middle mountains, and then, of course, the valley itself.
Ah, okay. I think that's what most people picture when they hear Kashmir, right? The lush green valley surrounded by those majestic mountains.
Exactly. But each of these regions has its own unique personality. I mean, they're all shaped by these incredible rivers, the Hilum, the Chenab, the Ravi.
Oh, I've heard of those rivers. They're like the lifeblood of Kashmir, aren't they?
Exactly. They carve through the mountains, they nourish the valleys, they connect everything. And speaking of the valleys, each one is so distinct. Take Godhra, for example.
Badrua. Where's that located?
It's nestled in the outer hills, known for its lush forests and high-quality timber. Imagine how important that must have been to the local economy.
Oh, I bet. Wood was like gold back then.
Right. And then you have Kishwar, which is further up in the middle mountains. It's a plateau where all sorts of fruits thrive. Quince, apples, pears. They even cultivate saffron there.
Really? So it's not just the saffron from Pampur.
Well, Pampur saffron is definitely the most famous, but yeah, they do grow it in Kishtwar as well, although maybe not as high quality.
I see. And what about the Valley of Padar? What's its story?
Padar is interesting. It's not known for its agriculture so much as its mineral wealth. They have sapphire mines there and even semi-precious stones like beryl and aquamarine.
Wow, so there are literal hidden treasures in those mountains.
There you go. But it's not all easy living in these mountainous regions, right? Think about Ladakh, for example.
Ladakh, that's east of the Kashmir Valley, right?
That's right. And it's known for its harsh climate. I mean, you have these incredibly dramatic temperature swings, very little rainfall.
Why is there such little rainfall?
Well, it has to do with the way the mountains are positioned. They basically block the rain clouds coming from the south. So the people living there had to be incredibly resourceful to survive.
I can only imagine. So what did they do? How did they adapt to that kind of environment?
Well, they learned to cultivate what they could in those conditions. Barley, wheat, buckwheat, even turnips. And since transportation was such a challenge for centuries, I mean, the roads were rudimentary at best, they developed these incredible marching abilities.
It's amazing how humans can adapt to even the most challenging environments.
Absolutely. And Kashmir is a perfect example of that. It's not just the land itself, but the people, their cultures, their traditions. It's all shaped by this incredible interplay between humans and the environment.
It sounds like a fascinating tapestry, and I'm eager to explore more of it. But let's move on to the people themselves. Who are the people that make up this diverse and vibrant culture?
Well, you have a variety of ethnic and religious groups, all contributing to this rich cultural mix. For starters, you have the Rajputs, known for their simplicity, endurance, and bravery.
Okay, and who else?
Then you have the Khatris and the Mahajans, who've really been the backbone of trade and commerce for centuries. They were known for their literacy and their sharp business sense.
It's amazing how each group seems to have developed a specific role within the larger society.
That's true. And of course, you have the Harijans, primarily agriculturalists, with very clean habits. And thanks to education, their social status is steadily improving. And then there are the Paharis, who inhabit those middle mountains we talked about. They live a pretty simple life, mostly relying on terrace cultivation, which I can imagine is no easy feat.
Absolutely. I mean, all this makes you realize that Kashmir wasn't just a land of kings and palaces. It was a society built by the hard work and ingenuity of everyday people.
Exactly. It's a reminder that history is not just about the grand narratives, it's about the lives of ordinary people who made this land what it is. And when we delve into the Rajataranjini, this ancient chronicle of Kashmir, we discover even more layers of this diverse history. I mean, it mentions groups like the Nishads, the Kashas, the Darads, the Botas.
Wow, so many different groups all intertwined.
Exactly. And it wasn't just indigenous groups that shaped Kashmiri culture. Over centuries, there was interaction with Roman, Greek, and Persian civilizations.
Wow, so we're talking about a real melting pot of cultures and ideas.
That's a great way to put it. And all of these influences contributed to this incredible blend of traditions and beliefs that you find in Kashmir.
It sounds like a fascinating puzzle, with each group adding its own unique piece to the picture. But before we delve into how these influences manifested, I'm really curious about this group you mentioned earlier, the Hanjis. What role did they play in the valley's life?
Oh, the Hanjis, they were essential. Think about it. Before cars and modern roads, the rivers were the highways of Kashmir.
Ah, I see.
And the Hanjis were the truck drivers, the bus drivers, the taxi drivers, all rolled into one. They transported everything and everyone along those waterways.
So they were like the veins and arteries of the valley's economy.
Exactly. And there were different types of Hanjis depending on what they specialized in. You had those who transported timber, grain, and passengers.
I can only imagine. What were the passenger boats like?
Well, you had the Dunga boats and even houseboats. The Hanjis who operated those, they were known for their hospitality, their ability to speak multiple languages. Often they acted as guides and caretakers for visitors, showcasing the beauty and culture of the valley.
It's amazing how interconnected everything is. The land, the rivers, the people.
Right. And to really understand those connections, you have to look at the language as well. Kashmiri itself is a fascinating language with a rich history.
Oh, absolutely. I've heard it's quite unique. But I've also heard conflicting things about its origins.
Yeah, there's this common misconception that Kashmiri is a Dardic language based on Dr. Grierson's classification. But many locals believe it actually originated from Sanskrit.
Hmm.
And regardless of its origin, it's a language filled with proverbs, sayings, folklore, you name it.
So it's more than just a means of communication. It's a carrier of culture, of history.
Exactly. And when the Persian script was adapted for writing Kashmiri, it led to this flourishing of literature. It's like opening a window into a whole new world.
It sounds incredible. And now I'm dying to delve into those stories, those customs, those traditions. So let's talk about the cultural heart of Kashmir. What were their festivals and customs like?
Oh, that's where things get even more interesting. And that's where we'll pick up after a quick break. Stay tuned.